Something that I often hear is that we are the conglomerate or the makeup of the five people we spend most time with. So I want to talk about that today, and I also want to bring in something that's pretty interconnected with that, which is, do people ever really change or not? In order to understand if people change, we have to understand one of the deepest questions in life, which is, who am I? And what I'm going to share is very much my perspective and my belief system. If this is not yours, don't need to adopt it, but maybe it'll give you some perspective on a way that this can be looked at. So let's break that down. Who am I? Let's start with identities. Number one, we often answer with our name. My name is Harry Sherwood. Okay, but I'm not really my name. That's something that was given to me. And then we go to, well, what are the obvious is I'm a white male who grew up in an upper class family and Southern California. I am in my late 20s and I am a co-founder of a business, yada da yada da. Okay, now each one of those things describes something about me, but is that me? White, male, upper class, those are all social identities, which are known as social identities. They affect my experience while on earth, very much so, but that doesn't mean that's who I am. Being my age, also, once again, another social identity. What I do for a living, it's what I do, it's not who I am. So these are all descriptors of parts of me, and honestly, mostly of my body, but they're not who I am. What are the other social identities? So it could go into my religious status, which is I most identify with Self-Realization Fellowship, which is ancient yoga and yogic techniques, which and their perspectives that all religions at their core are saying the same thing. So yes, that has affected my belief system here, but that's not who I am. Culture, from the United States, and I grew up in the Southern Californian culture, once again, affects my experiences here, and it's very much a privilege to have grown up in the United States, but it is not necessarily who I am. And I am a male. I'm a man, and I'm a male, and I identify as a man. So my sex and my gender, they are born into, plus my mental perception or my identity with that. But it's not who I am. These are all things that describe a part of me, but they aren't me. They aren't I. A lot of other people identify as a white male, upper class, man, United States. I mean, I could fill out that exact same person and put them next to me, and that doesn't mean we're going to be the same person. We might have had similar experiences along the way. We might have even grown up in the same area, but that doesn't mean that we are going to be the same. In fact, I would be willing to venture that we'd be quite different. So it's not who we are. They are a part of us, yes, but it's not who it is. Okay, well, what do I like? Does what I like do? I like meditation. I like seeing people better themselves. I like animals. I like having fun and being happy. All these things are activities and hobbies and things that I do, but they're not me. So let's get deeper. What's going on here? Well, in the yogic tradition, they teach us that, and what many of us know, there's mind, there's body, and there's soul. So mind, they describe as a conglomerate of all of our thoughts. Am I my thoughts? Well, I have thoughts and I can change my thoughts, and then other people's thoughts can influence my thoughts. But if I have thoughts, who is it that's aware that I have them? Who's the generator of them? Subject, object. If there is an object, thoughts, then there must be someone aware of them. So I'm not necessarily my thoughts, I have them. Emotions are another part of mind. Same thing goes there. I have emotions, they change from moment to moment. And people's emotions can affect my emotions. But once again, subject, object, I am not those things. So that's really kind of the mind, our inner inner world of thoughts and of emotions and of identifications as well, which could come with beliefs as well. Once again, affected by the outside or by the inside, but not me. Then we have mind, body. Well, we've gone through a lot of my social identities, and I know that this body changes. The cellular regenerates every 7 years completely. So it changes from moment to moment. It's not me. I have a body. I'm not a body. So then it gets to soul, that last part. And this is what yoga and a lot of different spiritual traditions teach as being the thing that which we are. And a good way to think about this is, what is the one thing that doesn't change? If my mind changes, my thoughts change, my emotions change, my beliefs change, my body changes, my identities can even change. What's the one thing that doesn't change? And the answer to that is the fact that we are aware, our conscious awareness. Since I was 5 till now, and every moment in between, I have been aware that I'm alive. I'm aware, the subject that is aware of my thoughts and my emotions and having this body and filming this video. That awareness in yoga is likened to the soul. It is never changes. It cannot be tarnished. It only can be hidden. The more beliefs I have of that not existing and being identified with my thoughts and my emotions in my body, the more it hides. But the more I identify with that awareness, the more I identify with my soul, the more that becomes my identity, and at my core, who I am. So what it comes down to is, what are you identified with? And it also comes down to, what am I? Not just who am I. The soul is a what as well as a who. It's an individualized piece of the larger source, of larger universe, of larger God, as some call it. So it's like a wave in the ocean. It rises out of the ocean and it crashes. It's not separate, but it's not the whole ocean. It's a part of, a teardrop of. And being in that place is an identity. But many of us are identified with being these physical bodies, that this is the only lifetime we ever live, that there is nothing after death, that there is, I am my thoughts, I am my emotions, or maybe you even believe that you aren't those things. And these are beliefs and identities. And so in the search for who am I, or understanding who am I, or understanding do we ever change, it really comes down to, well, how do we identify? Just grab a piece of hair floating in midair. So when it comes into who am I for me, I am the indestructible soul that is connected to larger source. My life is spent seeking that out. My life is spent digging away all of the dirt and the crud and the rocks that have been encased around that diamond in the rough, which is the thoughts and the emotions and the identifications and all these things that have gotten in the way, but it's never tarnished it, it's only hidden it. So I daily spend time to uncover that, and to help others. That is my work, to help people uncover that. And it can be done in numerous ways. But if that is not your belief, then you might not spend your time doing that. Now, so that coming back to the question, do we ever change? The answer is, well, if you believe like I believe that we are something more, we are something deeper, we are something greater, which I've experienced in meditation, I have reasons to believe it, as well as being told and shown in different scriptures that that's what it says, but experiences myself, then it's of the utmost importance to me to do that. And so I spend my time changing and moving back the rocks and the emotions and the energetic blockages within me and the thoughts, and getting rid of limiting beliefs and getting rid of all of these things that just are noise in the way of me being my true me, my truest self. So in a way I am changing, but in a way I'm not. I am the soul, so I'm ever new, ever present, never changing, but I'm getting my habits as a human, my beliefs as a human, my thoughts as a human, my body, my emotions, all these things change, but I am not those things. So the answer depends on what you're identified with and what you believe. If you don't believe there's a soul, then all those things, if you believe that those are what you are, then sure, people change. But at the core, I believe that we do not change. Our habits change, and how we interact with the world changes. And we're trying to figure this out. A lot of us are just on our way to trying to get our grasp for even knowing which way to head to get to that soul, that inner part of ourself, that consciousness. So how does this tie into you are the addition, or you are the 5 people that you spend most time with? Well, for me, along the way, I realized that being around people who were also digging and seeking out their soul, their consciousness, helped me become more focused on it, more passionate about it, more understanding of the process. And being around people who weren't even, whether they believed in that or not even doing any self-work at all, not even trying to change limiting beliefs, not even understanding when I say limiting beliefs what that means, not even trying to even any self-help. And that goes beyond ourselves, that goes into compassion for others and other beings. I noticed being around people who were very unaware, some might say, became hard, became challenging, because it affected my passion towards uncovering my soul. It affected my drive. It affected my perspective. It affected my energy. It affected me on so many levels. And so I stopped spending as much time with those people, and I started spending time with people that are searching, that are standing in their own authenticity as they uncover their true self. And for me, it doesn't have to be you are seeking your soul, you're seeking self-realization, you are seeking the top of the mountain, the deepest of the deep. You don't have to be on that path. Yes, I have friends on that path. But they're few and far between. You won't find many people that are really passionate about that. But I have friends that I actively spend time with who are working on themselves, who are working on covering up whatever it is that's under there, because they know that there's something deeper, that care about animals and the environment and being vegan maybe. I can see the compassion, they're heart-centered. I spend my time with people who are actively working to better either themselves or others. And then I say, is this person healthy to be around? Or is this person a toxin to be around? And so the people I spend most time with are people that are digging, are people that care enough about themselves or care enough about others and care enough about the environment to spend their time and their life doing that, to take the time that it must be dedicated towards those goals. And I have a whole nother video on the best way to identify where to dig, because a lot of us just start digging because we just above ground is just a ton of people we don't want to be around, so we just start digging. We just start going, and when the diamond might be a mile left, so we're going to dig down, and then we have to dig all the way through. There's ways of identifying where is my diamond, so then I can dig directly down. But who do you spend most time with? What are their beliefs? Are they limiting beliefs? Even if they are on the personal development track, even if they are on the compassionate and heart-centered track, that doesn't mean that you have to allow them into your 5, your inner circle. I mean, really, is it just one thing that's okay to have them in there? Does it have to be 2 things? They're both compassionate towards others and they're working towards unearthing themselves. Your list of who you get to let in is totally up to you. It's totally up to you. Mine, as time goes on, gets stricter and stricter. I let less and less people in, and I step out of situations where I spent a lot of time because I had, one connection with someone, say it was physical fitness, and I really liked a specific type. And so I was around a lot of people, but I was also around the mentality and around, all these other things, all the things that I've described. Well, over time, I spend less and less time in those zones just because I have one thing in common with people, and spend more time with people that I have multiple things in common with, and who I don't just call them up and say, hey, what's up? When I talk to them, it's, hey, how are you doing? Are you standing true in your integrity to your goal? Are you diving deep in your meditations? Are you seeking your soul? It doesn't have to be that exactly, but they're holding me accountable to being me, to finding me, to knowing they know my dream. They know my goal. Do you know your top 5 goals? A brilliant speaker, John Vroman, calls it the front row. Do you know who's in your front row? And he says, find 8, 5, 8, whatever you want. And whoever you let into your front row, you should know what their dreams are. You should know who they are at the core. Because if you've never had that conversation with someone, how well do you really know them? So to circle all the way back, time we spend with people is inevitably, for me, tied to who are they and are they seeking to unearth themselves? Because if they're not, it's most likely that I don't spend a lot of time with them. And I know a lot of people that are this exact same way. Melanie, my partner, calls it her customs form. If they don't get a lot of checks on the customs form, they're not allowed in. They can't come into country Melanie, which is a really good way of thinking about it. Who do you let into your country on a daily basis that is a toxin and you need to get out? You are the people you spend most time with because their mentality affects you, their beliefs affect you, their everything about them affects you, even their energy. Are they someone who consistently complains about things? Or are they someone who's positive? Are they someone who actively seeks out health through nutrition? Or are they someone who just eats junk all the time? Are they someone who cares about other people and when they see someone on the sidewalk not doing well, they don't jump to conclusions and say, oh, that person's a piece of you know what. Instead, they have compassion and they have empathy. Who do you spend your time with? It affects you deeply. It affects you. And so that's my 2 cents on this subject. I highly caution you to be aware and conscious of who you spend your time with, and whether, no matter what their belief system is, whether they are seeking that which never changes, which is the soul, or they are working to better themselves or better the world, that's who I want to spend my time with. So I would invite you maybe to question, is that who you want to spend your time with? And maybe your list is totally different. All right, everyone, we'll see you in the next video.